We're going to get started here with our next session on Acupressure Mini Boost. I'm pleased to introduce you to both of our speakers, Matt and Amelia Bierschbach. Matt is a licensed acupuncturist, practitioner of classical Chinese medicine, and has a background in biomedical engineering and extensive training in acupuncture, herbal medicine, and functional medicine. Amelia is also a licensed acupuncturist with a Master of Acupuncture and Chinese Medicine and a background in public health and international humanitarian work. Her journey into Chinese medicine began after her own healing experience with breast cancer, and she now focuses on women's health, oncology support, and healthy aging. Let's welcome Matt and Amelia.
Thank you. Before we start, just keep enjoying your lunch, and if food coma sets in, that's okay, you can take a nap, whatever, and we're gonna eventually get to some acupressure points that are gonna help get your system jazzed up so that you'll be nice and awake for the final speaker, which is gonna be a great talk. So Amelia's gonna get us started off.
All right, so I just wanted to, reintroduce ourselves. So Matt and I are married, and as was noted, I started this journey towards acupuncture when I was introduced to acupuncture when I was going through chemotherapy for breast cancer. And it was very transformative for me and is what led me to this career. And it's very gratifying for me to now be able to provide oncology support to cancer patients coming in for acupuncture. It's kind of a full circle moment for me, which has been amazing. I've been doing this for about 5 years. Matt has been doing this for about 26 years. So we work together, and today we're going to talk about acupressure, things you can do at home to help yourself for some self-care. Okay. And I think I need to figure out how to.
All right.
There we go.
So there's, within Chinese medicine, there's many different modalities. There's acupuncture, acupressure, different types of body work. There's Chinese herbal therapy, nutrition therapy, qigong. We're just gonna touch on some acupressure points for some things that could be common, like circulation to the hands and feet that could be helpful with neuropathy, energy level to help with fatigue, grounding to help with sleep, and then some points to help with digestion. So that's kind of the basic, and then if we have time at the end, we could do some qigong as well. And then before we start, I'm gonna actually contribute to the food coma for a moment, because I just have to talk about this beautiful symbol, because it helps you to understand a little bit about why pressing on certain points is going to actually help things going on in your body. And if you look at that symbol, you see the blue one is on top, so that's like water, and the fire is mainly underneath. You might see it in all different configurations, but this is the configuration that represents harmony, because the fire is beneath the water, so it stays in place. If the fire's above the water, it goes and burns out, and the water spills down and drains away. So all health and disease in the body can be spoken of as a disharmony or harmony of yin and yang. And so that's really what we want to be doing throughout the day, as we're eating, as we're walking, as we're talking, as we're driving, as we're getting cut off when we're driving, just being aware of the energy movements in our system helps us to sense when things get a little bit out of balance, and then we can bring them back into balance easier. And that's a lot of the other work that people have been talking about really being present and grounded in the body, and it goes hand in hand with this principle. And this is just a good visual to keep in mind, to be like, oh yeah, you need to bring that back, keep everything in the right place, and that is then grounded, it's balanced, the immune system's happy. So it's kind of like the fire beneath the cooking pot. That's the right place for the fire, and then it heats the water, and then it produces that steam. And you've all heard of the word qi, or It's like the Chinese word for our life force or vitality or energy, and it's actually, the character is a cooking pot with fire and the steam coming off, and that's what it's representing. It's like, it's water becoming air, air becoming water, and Einstein's equation would say it as it's energy becoming matter, matter becoming energy. That's the E equals mc squared. It's talking about this transformational force. And there's a phrase in Chinese that says, where the mind goes, the qi follows. And so our thoughts and emotions are really our most powerful influences over our body. And then there's all the biochemical effects like digestion, detoxification, and then we have also the structural components, which is, you know, getting our muscles moving and circulation. So it's really important to be aware of our mental, emotional movements and try to bring those into harmony, because that will keep the biochemical and the structural components more in harmony. Like even if you just notice like the stress, something happened and you feel your body like tightening up in your shoulder, like that's the physical getting congested and things, the yin and the yang going a little out of harmony. It's always the yang rising up and the yin falling down. And so we like just sense that and can bring it back into harmony again and again throughout the day. And it's kind of like a meandering river. It's not like a freeway that goes straight. Life is interesting. It meanders, it's a curvy road. So that's where if you see this symbol, or if you just kind of think of this a little bit here and there, that can hopefully help you think of the dynamic balance of life that's always happening in our body. And then we have the next slide.
Oh, there's
it's turning. Okay. All right. So that's qi, we covered that. Oh, and then there is something I call the equation of health. It's our emotions, our thoughts, nutrition, movement, environmental exposures, and genetics. And there's a picture of a little control board. And it's like, so some of these controls we actually have access to. And we can turn the dials, and we can turn them in our favor or against our favor. So we can turn them towards health or towards disharmony, dis-ease. So I just want to encourage everyone to use all the tools that you've gotten over the years, and if you get any tidbits from people today, just integrate those and try to take as many of those controls as you can get a hold of and turn those dials into your favor, and you'll be able to get the best outcome that your situation and life history and genetics allow. So.
Okay.
Okay.
So one of the controls, one of the levers or dials that we have some influence over is our body, and what Matt was just talking about throughout the day. If you feel anxiety or stress, or if you feel tightness in your shoulders, or whatever you might have going on, if you feel an exacerbation of some disharmony in your body, what we're here to teach you today is some acupressure that you can do for yourself at home, at work, wherever you are, just to help yourself, bring the anxiety back down, calm the system, work on pain modulation. So with acupuncture, this is kind of like a really quick crash course into acupuncture and Chinese medicine. So the body has what we call meridians or channels, and as you can see from this picture, there are acupuncture points all over the body: the head, the scalp, the fingers, the toes, the whole body, including the ears. Acupuncture points can be stimulated with needles with acupuncture. They can also be stimulated with acupressure, which is what we're going to talk about today. So on those channels are certain points, and here we've listed the main ones we're going to talk about today that will be helpful for you to stimulate yourself. And we're going to get right into showing you where these points are and demonstrating how you can manipulate these points on yourself. So you're going to sit in the chair,
Oh.
No, I'm gonna sit in the chair.
No, you're gonna.
Okay. You're gonna sit in the chair.
Then we're gonna juggle.
So I've grouped them together in pairs because they often, acupuncture points do go together and sort of boost each other or have synergistic effects with each other. So Li4 is the first one we're going to talk about. Matt's going to demonstrate where it is.
Yeah, and you can kind of follow along, and when you're pressing the point on yourself, just kind of pay attention to what you're feeling. Not just in the point, but see if you feel something else anywhere in your body.
So Li4, large intestine, is the channel that we're on. 4 is the point number out of the total number of points on that channel. On the dorsum of the hand, between the first and second metacarpal bones, at the midpoint of this second bone. Yep, exactly, you guys all got it. And then you just gently press in there. It may be very tender on some of you. It can be a very active point. This is great for stimulating immune system function. If you're feeling a cold coming on, or if you feel a little vulnerable, it's great for restoring energy, alleviating headache pain. It can also, if you have nasal congestion, it targets the nose, the mouth. If you have dry mouth symptoms, this is a great point to push on. It circulates qi in the body.
And energetically too, it really helps us to let go. I don't know if anyone's had an experience of feeling like they're grabbing onto things or trying to control life. Nobody? Yeah.
Just you.
And if you think about grabbing onto something, it's almost like this point is like an eject button. And the large intestine literally lets go of the stuff from our body. It also helps us to let go of mental, emotional stuff, and just like, okay, I'm not going to try to control that thing. So it also helps in that way.
And then our next point is called Do 20. Do is the word for it's called the governing channel. Yep, so what you do is you put your thumbs on the apex of your ear, just gently, and then your 2 middle fingers should join right at the top of your head. You're gonna scoot them back just a tiny bit till you feel a little depression right there, and you're just gonna gently push on that.
And you can, if you go clockwise, it's generally thought of as like more nourishing and tonifying, and counterclockwise is more like a reducing and draining, and that's more into that. So just usually go clockwise.
You can just push on it, yeah.
Or push.
This raises energy in the body, so if you're feeling tired, this is a great point to press on. It also calms the spirit, so if you're feeling a little out of your body or out of control, this is a great grounding point to press on. And then just moving down the body a little bit, we're going to go to gallbladder meridian. So there we go. Back of the head, below the occiput, you'll feel that the skull bone, the bottom is occiput, in the hollow between 2 muscles, the trapezius muscles, which are central in the neck, and then the SCM muscles, which come up behind your ear. So you're gonna feel that little space, that little dip in between those 2 muscles, right at the base of the bone. So this point is really good for alleviating pain, relaxing your neck, and relieving headaches that you feel at the back of your skull. So that's a gentle, and this may be very tender for some people. Again, usually if the point is active for you, if it's something that your body needs, it will feel tender when you push on it. So you don't want to push too hard. You're not trying to elicit pain. You're just trying to gently stimulate that point.
And especially if you're getting like temple headaches, that can help. Whereas this one helps more with frontal headaches. Mm-hmm.
And then the next point on the same channel, GB21. So the easiest way that I find this is I take my opposite hand and I just gently put it here with my thumb at the base of my neck. And then when you go out to the edge of your pinky, the tip of your pinky finger, and then press right in there. And then you'll feel that. You can do that on both sides. So this is fantastic for releasing neck and upper back tension. It also regulates qi in the body and alleviates pain overall.
It also helps if your shoulders are earrings, helps to bring those down a little bit there.
Okay. These two also go together, so yin tong, right between the eyes, kind of like the third eye. So just right here. And you can use 2 fingers, you can use 1 finger. Nice gentle pressure. So that calms the spirit, benefits the face and nose, but mainly this is very relaxing. This really brings the energy down. In conjunction with kidney 1, which is on the bottom of the foot. So sole of the foot between the 2nd and 3rd metatarsal bones. Again, you'll kind of feel it if you feel around in there, get your finger in there. There'll be a depression, a dip, you press right in there. That's fantastic for grounding yourself. So often if you have trouble calming down at night, if thoughts are racing, you can't get to sleep, gentle pressure on the bottom of your foot on this point will help.
And it's really nice to do it just with your leg crossed, and then you can put your thumb. And this one, I actually like to push kind of hard because your feet are pretty tough. And it's very much helps with like that grounding energy.
Descends energy from the head all the way down.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep, both feet.
Correct.
And it's best without shoes.
Okay. Stomach 36. Matt's going to locate that for you.
I like to do it where I take my palm and put it on my kneecap, and then the ring finger will usually hit on the outer part of the tibia here. And then, so you can feel that muscle, like if you raise your foot, it's like the top part of that muscle. And there's a whole region, it's a pretty big area. Some points are really small, this one's pretty big.
And if any of you have had acupuncture, you have probably had this point done on you. It's a major point that we access on the body. This is good for boosting your chi, combined with Li4 for immune system boosting. It's also fantastic if you are having trouble with digestion or nausea. If you want to push this point before you eat, this helps to aid digestion and quell nausea. And you can push on this after a meal, during a meal, all that. Sometimes it's helpful also just to slide down. As Matt was saying, it's kind of a big area, so you can just sort of gently massage all the way down along that muscle.
And that going downward is also helpful because the energy of the stomach is to go down and to bring the food down into the small intestine. And a lot of times with stress, there's like, can be knotted up here, and nausea is actually the stomach chi going up. So this is a great nausea point because it helps the stomach chi go down, and it's named Zutsan Li, which means leg 3 mile. And the story is that when the soldiers would be marching, they just couldn't go anymore. They would stop and rub this point or stimulate this point, and they could go for another 3 miles because it helped to boost the energy.
Boost the chi.
And then you can also go actually all the way down the whole front of the shins. That's all the stomach channel too. And that can help to really open up the digestion. Which, let's say one little side note about the digestion is, our nervous system goes sympathetic and parasympathetic modes mostly. When you get your nervous system into that parasympathetic mode, it's rest, digest, and repair. So if you can take a moment and do some breathing, do a couple points, give thanks, feel this generosity, that all of those things help to put us into that parasympathetic mode where then we're going to receive the nutrients better and absorb the nutrients better and have that downward opening movement.
So we often do this in conjunction with spleen 6, the next point, because spleen is also involved in digestion, and Chinese medicine is key in digestion and transformation of food. There we go. And as you can see from the diagram, you can also take the route of putting your hand with
the top of the ankle here, and then the width of your 4 fingers.
Correct.
And then it's right in between your Achilles and the tibia here.
And this point aids digestion, regulates menstruation, invigorates the blood, regulates urination. This point has many, many actions, as does stomach 36, and they often are combined together. It's a great pair to do. Okay. And, oops. Yeah. liver 3, PC6, another combined pair that we like to do. Liver 3, yep. So spreads the qi in the body, nourishes the liver and the blood, benefits blood flow. Cancer treatment can often be very draining to the body and all of our systems. It takes a long time to build that back up. So liver 3 is a key point for building back up the qi, the blood, the yin in the body, which a lot of us are lacking when we've been through treatment. And then combining that with PC6, which is our main point for nausea, unbinds the chest, regulates the qi, alleviates nausea. Together, those two are often called the female four gates, helps to course qi freely throughout the body.
And this is like, if you ever seen those like nausea bands where they have like the little magnet or pressure.
That's the point, they're
they
stimulating.
put it on this, and there's a nerve that runs right under there. So when you hit it, you'll sometimes feel a little tingling in your hand, even just rubbing it. But that's a nice opening the chest, opening and calming.
All right. Ren 12, Ren 6 on the midline of the front of the body. Yep.
So if you go between the bottom of the sternum and the belly button, halfway is Ren 12.
Yep. Harmonizes the stomach, aids in digestion, reduces reflux, same as Matt was talking about before.
If you push too hard right after eating, it could cause reflux though.
And then Ren 6.
And that's between the pubic bone and the navel. It's just a couple inches down from the navel.
2 finger wisps below the umbilicus. Nourishes and regulates qi, improves energy. Those are often combined together. And our last pair, Heart 7 and Ren 4. Heart 7 at the wrist joint, palmar side, on the radial side of the tendon that you're going to feel right at the edge there, in a depression right beneath the bones of the wrist. This calms the spirit, regulates and nourishes the heart. It may be tender for some of you as well. So in Chinese medicine, whenever we're dealing with physical pain, we're also always dealing with emotional pain and mental components of pain. And so Heart 7 is a really good one for regulating emotional components to pain. Ren 4, midline of the body again, below Ren 6, about 4 finger widths below the umbilicus. You can just kind of find your belly button and then put your fingers right there with your top finger in the center of the belly button, and you'll be right at the edge of that last pinky finger. Benefits the uterus, benefits the bladder and the small intestine, benefits qi, nourishes kidneys and spleen. All of these points on the Ren channel in the center midline of the body are very nourishing points for building qi in the body. You can also use heat, gentle heat on all of those points on the midline of the body. That's also very nourishing and feels pretty good. And then that's it for our points.
Then go back to the first one with Li4 and do 20.
Yeah.
So what time is it?
What's that?
Time?
We're over, so we gotta finish up.
All right, so real quick, so you wake up for the keynote speaker. Everyone rub this one again, real quick. Get in there a little bit, wake everything up. And then rub the top of your head and rub that, and then just take a moment and just see if you feel a little more bright than you normally do after eating. And see if there's a little more energy.
And then come visit our booth to enter a raffle to win prizes, t-shirts, tote bags, and the big prize is a free acupuncture treatment. Thank you so much for your time, everybody.
Thank you.